which I agreed to. There was a senior devotee, Kulashekar Das, who was the first English devotee that joined. He took care of me, and he wanted to go to Cardiff to open a temple, actually to Bristol to open a temple, and he wanted to take me with him, so the temple president agreed. So after just 3-4 days in a temple, I was sent to Bristol, and we went into Prabhupada's room prior to leaving to get his blessings, and he was very pleased. We were going to open a new temple, and he said, very nice bright-faced brahmacharis, and he gave us his garland as a blessing. And then we went to Bristol, but we had some contact in Bristol. We stayed there, but the boy's father became very angry, and he came to beat us. We had to lock ourselves in a room. He tried to smash the door down. So then we decided we'll move to Cardiff, and we went to Cardiff and began preaching. We were staying in apartments of different hippies, doing programs, and within 3 weeks or so, many devotees joined, even before we had any place as a center. Vichitravir Prabhu, Bhajahari Prabhu, Narahari Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, and also one day we were on Harinam, and I saw across the street one boy standing with his arms in the air. He had long golden locks, frizzy golden locks, very big eyes, and I said, come on over, join the Harinam. So he came over. That was Gunarnava Prabhu. That's how he came to ISKCON. He's also from Wales. Then we got a place, but it wasn't big enough to hold everyone, so I was sent to London, and then Harivilas, the Paris president, used to come over to buy incense, and he found I could speak French, so then he asked, can I go to Paris, and our temple president gave permission, and went to Paris. So I got initiated in Paris by letter in 1971. But the condition was that if Kulashekar wanted me to go back to Cardiff, I would have to go. So after a couple more months, he sent for me to come back. I went back to Cardiff, and then in April, I think, of '72, I was invited to join the first traveling Sankirtan party. Keshava Prabhu came to England to teach us how to distribute books, so I was sent on the first book distribution party, and then Keshav, he went back, and I was asked to take charge of the party, so I was on traveling Sankirtan. We gradually built up a party with Mahavishnu Maharaj, Jananda Maharaj, Bhaktivijananda Maharaj, and sometimes Subhag Maharaj would come, so it was quite successful. In July, Srila Prabhupada came for Rath Yatra, and Gunarnava mentioned there was a fire yagya at Trafalgar Square, the only time, he said. At that time, he got his first initiation, I also got a second initiation. And Sarvamangala Mataji, I think she also got second initiation. Then later on, I was sent to Ireland to open a temple in Dublin, and then I was made a temple president in London. So Prabhupada came many times, stayed a long time in Berry Place Temple in the summer of '73. That's when he also danced in the Rath Yatra all the way from Marble Arch to Trafalgar Square. I think H.G.Prabhavishnu Prabhu, also you were Prabhupada's servant at that time. In '74, Prabhupada had invited all the temple presidents to come to India. So I got a chance to go along with Pusta Krishna Swami, and went to the Mayapur festival. and then came to here to Vrindavan for the first time. So the temple construction, it was going on. We stayed at Fogal Ashram, and Srila Prabhupada gave lectures every morning and every evening in Fogal Ashram. He was staying in his house, which was incomplete, as you would have heard. One memory I have from that time, going into Srila Prabhupada's room, and Madhavisa Maharaj was just leaving. He was the GBC of Australia at the time. He was just leaving, so he was saying his goodbyes to Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada said to him, he said, "You're a perfect leader." And Madhavisa Maharaj replied, I'm just trying to serve you, Srila Prabhupada, follow your instruction. And Prabhupada said, yes, without following the instruction of the spiritual master, you cannot become a leader. But I could see Srila Prabhupada was really affectionate to Madhavisa Maharaj. Then went back to, one other memory from that year actually, we had gone to, me and Mukunda Maharaj, who was the president of the manor, we had gone to see Srila Prabhupada in Mayapur. We were a bit concerned. Samsundar Prabhu was a GBC of England, and of course he was very instrumental in getting the manor, and we've heard the memories of Guru Das and meeting George Harrison and getting the manor and doing so many wonderful things. But he also got involved in ruby business, so he became very busy with that, and he didn't have any time to give to the temples. And manor devotees got the manor in 73. Moved in May, I think April or May. Prabhupada actually came when he heard devotees had moved in. He came, even though his quarters weren't ready, the deities weren't installed or anything. Came in a helicopter from the airport, landed on the lawn in the manor. I remember in the first evening kirtan, it was in what's now I think a theater, just small Gauranitai deities, and at the end of the kirtan he said, instead of all glories to the assembled devotees, he said 3 times, all glories to George Harrison. So he was very pleased. He stayed in his quarters. I remember you, Shrutakirti, massaging him, and the floor was bare, and he was just sitting on a kind of sheet on the floor. But he was so happy to come and see that such a wonderful facility. But it was quite cold. He didn't stay very long, and he left. So anyway, as I mentioned, Samsundar didn't have much time to the temple, and the devotees, they didn't know how to manage a big facility like the manor. It was very problematic, and it changed temple presidents several times within the first year. But the place was getting more and more into debt. It was a very serious debts, so serious that bailiffs came, to try to collect the debts, and they wanted to take the deities. I think they took back the chandelier. It was a beautiful chandelier. They took that, and they wanted to take everything they could, but they couldn't take the deities. That didn't have any value for them. But anyway, myself and Mukunda Maharaj went to see Srila Prabhupada, to express some concern about the situation, because we were the presidents of the 2 temples, and he said, well, we have already decided, he said, meaning himself and the GBC, that if Samsundar doesn't, he had some debt to Prabhupada, he borrowed money I think for the business, if he doesn't repay his debt by April 15, and Sadhguru will become the GBC. So that was Prabhupada's instruction. And we went back, and I guess he didn't pay his debt back, and Hansaduru was sent, and then they began a record distribution to try to clear the debts of the manor. And I was asked to be in charge of the Sankirtan parties, and we built up to about 10 parties of devotees going out, selling various records. They were devotional records, Hare Krishna mantra. And in this way got the debts paid off. So in 75, I got, my parents paid a ticket for me to come to India. There was going to be opening of Krishna Balaram Mandir. So I was very keen to go. But Hansadutta Prabhu said, no, you have to stay back. You're the temple president and you can't go. So I wasn't able to come to the opening. But later in the year, he sent me to India because Srila Prabhupada was, he wanted devotees with Commonwealth passports to come. We didn't need visas. So I came to Mumbai and landed, I guess, about 10 or 11 in the morning, came to the temple, and in the afternoon I was already asked to come into Srila Prabhupada's room, and he asked me, who's in charge in a manner? Who's in charge in London? I told him Bhajahari is in charge in a manner, Vichitravir is in charge of the very place temple. He said, very good. He said, now you manage this temple. That time, Giriraj Maharaj was the president, but Prabhupada wanted him to collect from big donors for the temple construction. So in this way, he asked me to become the vice president. That's a service I did for about 6 months, and then I got the opportunity to go on the BBT library party to distribute sets of Srila Prabhupada's books in all the libraries and universities throughout India, which is a very interesting and inspiring service. Initially we worked from Mumbai, but then Gargamuni Maharaj, brought some Mercedes vans from Germany, and he invited us to come, and he said, I'll give you a van. So, okay. We thought we can't pass up this opportunity, because previously we were traveling on buses, with boxes and boxes of books, buses and trains. I remember traveling through Rajasthan in the night, in a bus, me and Mahavishnu Maharaj, and we were just sleeping put down our sleeping bags in the aisle in the middle of the bus and took a rest as it was going through the mountains. So it was quite austere without a vehicle. So we got a vehicle, we began traveling around, and Gargamuni, he started a few parties like that, and every 6 weeks we'd come and meet together in the place where Srila Prabhupada was staying. And so we got quite a lot of opportunity to have his darshan in different places. And once, I remember we came to Vrindavan, Prabhupada was here, and he requested me to go to Aligarh because some professor there wanted to donate a set of Bhagavatams with the commentaries of all the acharyas. So I was sent then to Aligarh in Srila Prabhupada's car, the maroon car, ambassador car, and then went to see this professor. And when I went in, he had 2 big piles of Bhagavatams on the floor. One was cantos 1 to 9 plus cantos 11 and 12. We had 8 tikas, 8 commentaries. And the other pile was the 10th canto with 11 commentaries, some additional commentaries like Sanatana Goswami's commentary. They all had Jiva Goswami's commentary and Bir Raghava Sridhar Swami, etc. So I said, thank you very much. He said one thing, this professor said, I would like to become a life member in exchange for these Bhagavatams. So I said, well, I can't guarantee that. I'll ask Srila Prabhupada. I hope he'll agree, but I didn't want to go back without the books. So he agreed, all right, and I took the books back and I brought them into Srila Prabhupada's room. And I told him this gentleman wants to become a member in exchange, and he said, Prabhupada said, these books are worth 1,000 rupees. He said, that time membership was 2,222. Let him pay the balance and he can become a life member. So anyway, I didn't stay in Vrindavan. We had to move on our traveling library party program. But it seemed the man wasn't agreeable and he wanted the books back, but Prabhupada didn't give the books back. And it went on for many years after that, after Prabhupada's departure also. I think they finally, the management here settled up with him somehow. Maybe, I don't exactly know what happened, but Prabhupada was, he didn't want to waste any money. Just another small story. When we were in Mumbai, one day, Srila Prabhupada had a safe box, where he would keep valuables. The key got lost. So Prabhupada told me, you go to Villa Parla, it's a suburb nearby, and bring a key walla to, open the box. So I brought a key walla. He had so many keys, and he was upstairs in Prabhupada's apartment in Juhu, the old apartment, and Prabhupada's room was inside, and there was a external room like a reception kind of area. Prabhupada sometimes took prasadam there also, isn't it? So anyway, this key walla was there, trying all the keys one after the other it was hundreds of keys, and he was sweating and finally he couldn't do it. So I had to go in and tell Srila Prabhupada he isn't able to open the box. What shall I do? And he wanted money. And Prabhupada said, give him 1 rupee. So like that, gave him 1 rupee. So Prabhupada was really tight with Lakshmi. Anyhow, let's see, later, I came here, I went to Bangladesh to start preaching there. That was also interesting. I'd gone to Mumbai to meet Srila Prabhupada in April of '77 to see if I could get permission to go to Bangladesh. And Gargamuni didn't want me to leave the library party, so he told Prabhupada's secretary, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, don't let him see Prabhupada without a letter from me. So when I went to see Prabhupada, Tamal Krishna Maharaj told me, you can't see Srila Prabhupada, you need a letter from Gargamuni Swami. So, I couldn't get to see Prabhupada, but Hansadutta, he knew I was interested to go to Bangladesh, and he had been in Sri Lanka, so he told Prabhupada I was interested to go to Bangladesh. So next day I was in the secretary's quarters for some reason, and a door opened, and Prabhupada was sitting at his desk, and he saw me. So he said, you come in here. And then he said, you've made the right decision. He said, go to Bangladesh immediately and spread Krishna consciousness there. So then I got the train to Delhi to get my visa in the Bangladesh embassy. In the meantime, Prabhupada came to Delhi. So there was darshan in his quarters in Lajpat Nagar, and he saw me there. He said, what? He said, you have not gone? It's only 2-3 days later. I said, I'm going, just getting my visa. He said, yes, go immediately. So he went to Bangladesh, and Jayapataka Maharaj was also involved. He was made the GBC at that time in '77. And, we started having really good success. Thousands of people would come to the programs. And then there was a shooting incident in Mayapur. Some Muslim villagers attacked the temple, and the devotees fired guns in the air to scatter them. And then the police were called, the devotees were arrested, they were paraded through the streets. And Prabhupada, he was really shocked by this, and he was also very pleased that Bhavananda especially was paraded through the street, that he had been, he'd undergone so much austerity to serve Srila Prabhupada's mission. But in Bangladesh, the news came into the papers, very negative news. And we were in some remote place in the Sundarbans doing a program, and police came all the way from Dhaka and arrested us and brought us on a ferry back to Dhaka the capital city, and straight into the office of the National Director of Security and Intelligence. And he had on his desk all these newspaper cuttings like "Cruel foreign Vaishnavas shoot timid Muslim villagers." That was a heading in the English newspaper. And there were many newspaper cuttings. And he said, "You have to leave this country immediately. It's too dangerous." And he gave us a letter, persona non grata, leave Bangladesh within 7 days. But he said, "Anyway, you can come back later when things calm down." So it seems he didn't put us on a blacklist. And so then I came back, and I was thinking in the meantime maybe go to Nepal and start a center. So I asked Jayapataka Maharaj, and he gave me a letter to bring here to Vrindavan for Srila Prabhupada. So I delivered a letter to Tamal Krishna Maharaj, and then I was called into Srila Prabhupada's quarters. That time Prabhupada was sitting on the roof of his quarters on the balcony up there. It was in the morning. He was very, very thin. He had big dark glasses. I'd never seen him looking so ill. Anyway, he greeted me. He said, "It's good you have come." Then he told a story about one Bengali poet called Michael Madhusudan Datta. I think he was a Christian. He went to England and squandered all his money, living lavishly. So then he started, Prabhupada described how he started going to so many different gentlemen to ask for money, and no one would give him any money. Finally, one gentleman called Vidyasagar gave him some money. So he was a poet. So he praised him. He said, "You've got the courage of an Englishman and the heart of a Bengali mother." So Prabhupada said, "So you've shown the courage of an Englishman," means to go to Bangladesh. So he said that just like the British, he said that they were famous for courage and enthusiasm and expansion. He said, "America is also your creation." He said, you know, this, what is that, Clive, Lord Clive, he was I think a crewman, Prabhupada said, but he spread the British Empire all over the world. So the same way he said, you have to spread the empire of Krishna consciousness. So he said, you do it with the courage of an Englishman and the heart of a Bengali mother. So then the discussion went on that in Nepal we needed some foreign currency. You had to change $150 a month, every foreigner, to be able to extend your visa. So Prabhupada said, okay. He said, I can spare that. He said, how many devotees you want to take? 4 foreigners and 1 Nepali devotee. There was a Nepali Bhakti here, later became Bhakti Siddhanta Das, disciple of Jayapataka Maharaj. So Prabhupada said, yes, open a bank account. He said, I'll send $600 every month. So that, with the help of that Lakshmi, we were able to rent the first temple in Kathmandu. So he said, in this way you develop these 2 nice fields with the courage of an Englishman and the heart of a Bengali mother. And at the end of the conversation he said, take the courage of an Englishman and the heart of a Bengali mother. So that was the last personal instruction I got from Srila Prabhupada. When we were in Nepal in October, we heard Prabhupada was very ill and devotees were asked to come, so we also went there. But then after some days, seeing Prabhupada's health was improving, so we went back, and when we were in Kathmandu, then again we heard, our neighbor came and told us that on the radio he heard Srila Prabhupada had departed. So then we came again for that ceremony, Samadhi ceremony, and I had wanted to ask Prabhupada to go to Malaysia to open a center, but because he'd been ill, I hadn't been able to ask him. But I remember there was just a makeshift Samadhi, and I was sitting there with Rajendra Kumar, who's now Bhakti Rajendrananda Maharaj. In the evening we were sitting outside Prabhupada's Samadhi, and we were just discussing about planning to go to Malaysia. And then the garland dropped from Srila Prabhupada's picture, and the Pujari came and gave it to us. We took it as a sign that that was his blessing, and we went to Malaysia and began the preaching there also. It's developed nicely. And the last thing, in 79, in January, I think, end of January, the whole GBC came here to Vrindavan to have a meeting about management. There was some need to make changes in the management. And Jayapataka Maharaj and Bhavananda Maharaj brought me with them to Delhi to arrange the GBC's tickets to fly from Delhi to Calcutta. So when they were meeting here, they sent me to Delhi, you know, to arrange all the tickets. I came back in the evening and they told me, now you're the temple president here in Vrindavan. Stay here and organize things for the festival when the devotees come after Mayapur festival. So I was here, and that time Gunarnava, I didn't know anything about Vrindavan management, but he was doing, you know, supervising various construction things. Since we were old friends from Cardiff, he volunteered to help. So in that way he became the vice president. And I was, you know, busy with Bangladesh and Nepal and going to Malaysia and thing. I didn't really want to stay here and be the president. So, you know, in that way he showed himself that he was quite competent. So then they made me regional secretary, and he became the temple president. And then after a few months I kind of faded out of the scene, kind of went off to Malaysia and Burma and Thailand and other places to try to spread Krishna consciousness there. So those are some memories. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya